Hello everybody and welcome back to Silverstone for the final two races of your evening then. We're still here, the GP Anniversary Championship, which is about to come to a close. We're sad to see it go, but we embrace something totally new here in August. So the first few qualifying times are just being set right now. Fregel has gone fastest, and he currently tops the time sheets by about 0.2 of a second. A 1:53.867 from a 1:54 from Brock Landers. Belinas finds himself in second. Now Rudolph just goes fastest, so time's flying in very thick, very fast. I think it's best if we just take a breather before we start reading out times, because they'll change more quickly the more we try and read them out. So everyone on track. We've only got 6 cars here at the moment, so hopefully the grid fills up a little bit before the end of the session, because we've got a long race ahead of us. Looking at about 30 to 35 minutes worth of racing, and with 7 cars that can get a little bit tedious on the guys stuck in the midfield who maybe aren't quite quick enough to catch the leading car, or the pace of the leading car at least. So there's Rudolph, Fregel, Ken's 24, then Brock Landers, Darek and Belinas, who are your 6 drivers at the moment. Still subject to change though, and only about 0.3 of a second separate P1 to 4, so it is very close out there still regardless. Only time will tell if it gets closer or no though, because Brock Landers now only 0.05 of a second away from a potential overtake of Ken's in third, bringing him up 1 place closer to the front row of the grid. We'll just have to wait and see if he can pull that off or no though. It's a very difficult task to do, and he makes his way through club corner now. Is this going to be the lap to propel him to the front row or not? The answer is no. He stays P4 and the gap doesn't decrease. So still all 6 drivers having set lap times, 4 seconds a gap at the moment. Belinas, the keyboard racer over the line, is 3.3 seconds away. So he's not that far adrift when you consider what he's racing with and who he's racing against. The second highest skill quant that Simraceway has to offer with a keyboard. Very respectable indeed. Just waiting for the times to pop in. Still no advancement on Fregel's time. And now the gap's extended between Kens and Rudolph. It's now 600ths of a second, not 4 anymore. Although Rudolph does have a bit of a cheeky slipstream from one of the drivers in front of him. Now that is Bolinas. So that could be a little bit helpful, but Bolinas being the slowest of the runners so far, he may not be there for too long before the slipstream gets outweighed by the downside having to pass him. Through Copse Corner they go. We'll see if he can retain the slipstream effect now or no. He's caught him at a very tricky part of the circuit through the Maggots and Beckett's complex. As Maggott says, Beckett's then into Chapel. And yeah, he's going to try and distance himself just a bit to try and pick up a slipstream down the Hanger Straight, and you can see why. And it's played absolutely beautifully for him. He may, just may, have enough to pass him though. Bolinas is going to stay well clear, and you can't really blame him there going into Vale. Very well played indeed. So Rudolph sweeps across, just misses the apex a bit though. That may come in to effect as he comes across the line. Downshift to second gear, keeps the rev at about 8,000 before slowly bringing your way up to third, and then you can put your foot down and kick it out the corner. Will this be a big enough time improvement or no? No, it's not. So still not, and it's still Fregel that leads. And the bad news is now there's only 2 minutes to go, so the drivers will get to finish their current laps and nothing more. So we've already seen some shocks at Silverstone here today. The arguably most important was that big retirement that we saw at the end of the 500 to 100A race. Now that was right at the end, 2 laps from the end. King Dio, the pole sitter, ended up in the garage watching the drivers go over the start-finish line, and Rob Mitro take an impressive victory. Will we see much of the same here today or no? Still remains to be seen. Yeah, 1 minute and 10 seconds to go, and the P1 to 5 separated by about 2 seconds at the moment, with 6th place being Bolinas, a further 2 seconds adrift. So 33 seconds to the end of the session. Still no improvement from the drivers just yet, though. As Brock Landers goes over the line, very wobbly, and that may come into effect. Oh, he's 9,000ths of a second away. And you cannot get much closer. He will get another shot at it, but my goodness me, you couldn't get much closer if you tried. That's almost as fast as you can blink your eye. That is absolutely sensational by Brock Landers, and he's really got a low downforce setup. The car is really tail happy. You can see it floating around on the exit of corners. I don't know how he's keeping that thing in a straight line. That is beyond me. I think they've just gone a bit wide there. They're going out of Woodcote. Who's in the pits and who isn't? Darek is in the pits. Fregel is in the pits. That leaves us with Rudolph, Kens, Darek, or I think Darek and Rock are both in the pits as well. Yeah, so it's just Bolinas and Rudolph to set lap times today then. You know, not that far away from each other on the circuit either, which makes things very hard, or very easy I should say, to keep an eye on. And through the old pit straight, and again that car is looking so bitey and tappy. I really don't know how Rudolph's keeping it down at the moment. Is this going to be enough or no though? He stays in second. He had a fantastic run last time by. He's now a second away from Fregel, so still a lot of work to make up for if he wants that pole position. But he's happy with second. He's got it in the books, but as a racing driver, you always crave that extra mile. And now out of Vale. Oh, he pits in, so that's it then. Rudolph's session is over. And Kent is also back in the pits, as is Belinas. So it's Fregel that will be your pole sitter, from Rudolph in second, Kent in third, Brotlanders in fourth, Darek fifth, and Belinas in sixth position. So welcome back to Silverstone then. 6 cars, 17 laps, and the Silverstone circuit await a dominant pole position by Fregel. Will it be the same story going in towards the last couple of laps or no? Let's find out. Big start by your pole sitter as Darek on the outside line there. Here it is. Completely dwarfed Belinas, who's been left for dust. The rest of the pack flying to the first corner. A bit of argy and bargy there between Brotlanders and Kent. The two able to keep their distance just enough to stop any unneeded contact between the two drivers, but it's all going on a bit further upfield, isn't it? As Rudolph coming under significant pressure there, and a bit of a chain reaction as Fregel got bunched up, and the rest of the field just seemingly took a bit of brunt of the impact there. But down Wellington for the first time today then. And now you really start to appreciate just how fast these cars are. Almost 170 mile an hour. As you enter Woodcote and out of Luffields. Through the national pit straight. Fregel leading a very close train. There's contact back there. Brocklanders and Darek. And Bellina slides through to 4th. Now, whether we can keep that or no, it's another issue entirely. But even so, we'll say thank you very much, boys. And off he goes for another 16.5 laps around Silverstone. So what can Kens do then? Brock did fair play there, though, to be honest with you. I watched him straight after. He handed the position back. And a very, very respectable driver he is, Botlanders. Let's just see what Rudolph's got in store for us, though, because Fregel pulling away at 1.9 seconds at the moment. Ken's staying with Rudolph. The top 3 separated by 3.5 seconds as they're going towards Stowe. Bit of a wobble there for Kenzo, I think, may have halted his progress. However, Rudolph has got other ideas on his mind. Lap number 1 over. The gap between the dominant pole sitter and the man sat alongside him now stands at just 0.8 of a second. Through turn 1 they go. And Fregel got an almighty jump through there. That was almost scary how much speed he picked up. Relentless through the first sector. Ken still keeps a close eye on them. It is a long afternoon of racing. You're looking at about 35 minutes, as we say, racing time. You do not want to start throwing things away. Down Wellington they go, and now Fregel's starting to find his feet a little bit, maybe. Just settle down. He's had the first lap. It was a bit shaky, and now he's just sitting down into a rhythm. Fregel just about maintaining his composure through the end of the first sector. Bellina's 4th. Darek 5th is still trying to catch the keyboard warrior, not literally, and Brocklander's in 6th as well. So Brock and Darek have maybe got a bit of a task on their hands, not only catching each other, but also trying to catch Bellina. So he wasn't that far off the pace, to be honest with you. Especially if there are pit stops to take into account. We're not sure if there will be. There could well be, though. Towards the end of lap number 2 now, and 3.2 seconds. The gap between Fregel and Rudolph, 1.2 between Rudolph and Ken. So Rudolph the hunter becoming the hunted. It's a familiar story here at Silverstone. And Rudolph could very well be the next driver to fall victim to the sensational rule. Let's see what Ken's has got lined up his sleeve over the next few laps in the first stint then. Out of the penultimate couple of corners come Fregel and Rudolph. They're following his Kens. So out of the final corner comes Fregel for his second time. So 4 seconds a gap now as well, so it is increasing. Rudolph just about holding on, but not by much. A 1:53.5 last time round for Fregel, a 1:54 for Rudolph, and now that is slipping him right into the clutches of Rudolph, isn't it? Because Rudolph wasn't that much slower, and with a slipstream, he may as well be faster. Down Wellington they'll come, and Ken's got an ideal opportunity to make a move now going in towards Woodcote Corner in the legendary Lotus 72 machinery. Goes to the inside. It could be a textbook manoeuvre if the corner doesn't tighten up too quickly, like his nature suggests. He's hanging it on, isn't he? With everything he's got, Rudolph knows he has the inside line next time by, but the drive will go to Ken's. Rudolph somehow holds on. And I'm still not quite sure how he's been able to do that. That was quite remarkable, to be brutally honest with you. And through the old turn 1 they go. Copse Corner, one of my favourite corners in motorsport. Flat out, depending on the car you're in. And you almost want to shut your eyes as you speed through it. You never know what that corner holds, what mysteries are there. And we've seen some famous overtakes and crashes there as well in all sorts of disciplines. From Formula 1 all the way to touring cars and such. Down hanger go Ken's and Rudolph. Ken's still stalking him down. Well, Darek taking a look back, he's closing a lot on Belinas, and it's not going to help Belinas' cause if he keeps running wide like that. And a major lockup going in towards that chicane on the club corner. And Darek is looking maybe a little bit more well positioned than he was a lap or two ago. Not with a slide like that though. This is not British Rallycross, Darek. You've got to try and at least keep your lid on, just stay calm. And now look at Kenton Rudolph still dueling away, hammer and tong. We've got a 2-car battle there. There's Fregel escapes. We've got a 3-car battle for 4th place with Belinas, Darek and Brock Landers. And Brock Landers simply going to be reeled in by these two as they start fighting. You could not ask for a better seat to watch the action from other than Brock Landers' cockpit. Now Darek and Belinas, 5th and 4th at the moment. Is that set to change in the coming laps? I've got a feeling it could well be though. Especially when you look now down the main stretch of the National Pit Straight. It's just 1.0 seconds up towards Kenz and Rudolph again. Those guys are about 1.6 seconds away. So Belinas, Darek and Brock Landers all separated now by just over 4 seconds. Well, that is very worrying indeed if you're Belinas. It's not an easy thing to drive a Lotus 72 with a steering wheel, let alone with a keyboard. You can see him already twitching around as Darek's pressure starts dwelling in on him. And a big lock up there may allow Darek through, but he holds stern. Just a tad longer at least. And round the outside goes Darek, and now they're almost 3 wide, and Darek's going to take it. Brock Landers follows through, and it's allowed Brock already immediate access to a move. Going into turn 1, he slides through. What a move in there was by Brock. And now Belinas fancies a chance to come back. They're almost 3 wide into the loop. Brock Landers out of nowhere came surging through turn 1, and now Darek has to sweep round the outside of Village Corner. He's somehow come back underneath. Hammer and tong, you could not ask for better racing than this. This is what motorsport is about. Darek now 4th, Brock Landers 5th, Belinas now down to 6th. The Kenton Rudolph battle stays stagnant as Brock goes up the inside of Darek. Does he outbrake himself? Darek tries to cut back underneath and then swoop back through Woodcote Corner, and it's not going to be enough. Brock Landers, an almighty first sector there to slide into 4th position. Now that was the move of the afternoon so far, no 2 ways about it. Look at Belinas as well, back in the draft. He wants that 4th place back off Brock Landers. But first of all, he's got to get through Darek in 5th. He's gone to the inside of Maggots and Beckett's, and he went out of road so quickly through there, it's almost not worth going for at all. Almost a bit slidey as well due to the dirty air going over that very unique shape of the 72. Out of the final corner now comes your race leader of Fregel. So that man crosses the line to start lap 6 of 17. So some incredible scenes here, it really is, for Fregel. He's been on fire since day one, but now Rudolph and Kenz have got some unfinished business, we think. They've stayed together for 6 laps, and you really cannot pry them apart if you even wanted to. Although a bit of a look up there for Kenz could have been a certain help. Brock just about holds strong with Darek clinging on for dear life in the background. And unfortunately Belinas is now 6 seconds away from that battle, so his best hope of a good position will be these two colliding once again, which may not be that far-fetched. They've already collided once, of course. who's to say history won't repeat itself on a circuit with as much history as the Silverstone International? And over the line comes Brock Landers, and Darek following him very closely, mirroring his every move. He wants P4 back off of his competitor after a hard-fought battle, but he's gone a bit too wide there, hasn't he? That's lost him a heck of a lot of time. In fact, it's almost lost him 3 seconds worth. And still trying to keep an eye on what's happening with Kens and Rudolph. They're only 1.3 seconds apart at the moment. Watch out for Fregel, the race leader though. 15 seconds clear, just 7 laps in. He's not even halfway through and he's set the world on fire. And he looks like he's going to leave a trail of smoke in his wake, isn't he? Rudolph and Kens still separated by just under a second. A 54.8 that time for Kens, and it was just a bit faster there for Rudolph. But it's not relevant when the gap is this small. And a big bit of oversteer there for Kens as well. I think the dirty air starting to shape the way that battle's going to form. Obviously, the lack of downforce is already quite mesmerising with the Lotus, and Darek almost up the inside of Brock Landers down the Wellington straight. Look at the run he had, and that was soon to be short-lived because he just tried to move in a bit too quickly, I think. And he's gone round the outside, and Darek sneaks through. Very sneaky move there for Darek. Brock went a bit too wide, and Darek is left scratching his head going, what have I got to do to take this back now? Brock Landers has been very unfortunate there, and I think just a bit too careless as well going into the corner, and in return Darek says thank you very much. I'm going to try and catch Kent in third. However, Kent has got his own problems trying to stay with Rudolph. That gap has escalated to 2.6 seconds since we last checked up on them, so everything starting to fizzle out now. 7 laps into the race. Still a lot of action left to go, but you've got to feel like Ken's 24/7 may have his work cut out for him, having to try and catch Rudolph 5.23. Over the line goes Fregel, so lap number 8 of the afternoon for him. So we are approaching the halfway spot, almost. Over the line at a 1:54.7 for Kens, and for Rudolph a 1:54.4. So Rudolph was quicker that time by. Let's see what Darek's doing in relation. A 1:54.4 as well, and a 1:55.8 from Brock Landers. That explains why he dropped off so quick. Galinas with a 1:58.1 unfortunately has dropped off significantly from that battle. But second and third still battling. Rudolph in second, Kent in third. And the gap keeps fluctuating between about 1.2 seconds and 0.8. It does not seem to stay stabilised at all. We've seen more gap changes there than most Formula 1 races. You say though the race dying down. Rudolph, Kent in third. Darek still fourth. Brock Landers P5. Galinas is in sixth at the moment. So a very stationary lap this has been. We just try and watch on board there with Kens and see how far away he is from Rudolph. It can get very, very annoying as a driver. You just can't get enough momentum to catch and stay close to the driver in front due to the nature of the circuit and the car. But the legendary Emerson Fittipaldi's Lotus 72 is proving to be more than a handful for some of the drivers here today across all Skillquant, and I'm sure we can expect some fireworks going into the last race of the night as well. Oh, and a big moment there for Ken's, actually very oversteery indeed. And that was almost costly. And again out the corner. And that car's struggling for grip. I'm wondering if he's going to have to stop for tyres or something. I mean, we are over halfway now. Is it a perhaps scheduled stop on the cards? Are the tyres giving up too quickly? Or is this just Ken's suffering with the setup and maybe trying to push a bit too hard? I'm sure all will come apparent sooner rather than later. But even so, that is a very worrying sign. That was 2 corners in a row with a massive lapse of oversteer. So still Fregel leads on that 9 of 17. And he's going to sweep round and start his 10th endeavour of the circuit relatively shortly. And we'll keep an eye on his lap time also. So Fregel goes through a 154.2, so incredibly quick there. Let's see what Rudolph can do in retaliation. A 154.2 from the leader. He's matching him actually. And in fact, there wasn't that much difference between them. A 154.23, a 154.29, and a 154.92, if that makes sense, from Ken's 24/7. So Ken's a bit slower that time round. I think just starting to settle into a rhythm, as is Darek, who was safely 7/10 quicker than Brock Landers that time round. And Belinas, unfortunately, drops back just a little bit further again. So Brocky, Belinas could be the 2 cars to keep an eye on. They're 11 seconds apart, and if Brock Landers starts pushing a bit too much to catch Darek, then we could be in for some fireworks later on. Fregel there is still looking a bit oversteery there actually. It's something we haven't seen from the race leader all race long so far. He's been looking very composed at the front of the field. And now in towards the final few corners again then. This will leave him with 7 laps remaining on the clock, with Rudolph a safe 22 seconds away. Fregel 153.4 there, so still even quicker into the 153s. Just to appreciate how quick that is, a 154.1 from Rudolph. So still no real advancements then, just browsing through the 6 drivers that we have here. No retirements, which is always good to see at any race, whether it's a sim race, a real race. 1 driver or 14, you never want to see a retirement, and these drivers perhaps more dedicated than any set here in Simraceway. Frege leads the way still as he comes over the line to complete his 11th lap very soon. The battle for second and third, though, could well be sparking up again shortly. Rudolph just 3 seconds clear of Ken's, and I'll give you an update on the lap times as they come through in just a moment's time. That will be Rudolph bringing his way over the start-finish line. So it's going to be a 1:53.8 for Rudolph and a 1:54.2 for Ken. So about 4 tenths slower again for Ken. He's got to try and find something different, whether it's approach a corner differently or maybe start just thinking outside the box, or if all else fails, just hope for a mistake from Rudolph. So Frege still pushing on. Rudolph still safely 22 seconds away. You've got to keep an eye on Kenzo. This will be the main catalyst for the remainder of the race. 12 laps have gone, and don't forget, if you do want to get involved or don't have the game already, it is a free-to-play game. So head over to simraceway.com. There's a variety of free cars, and I believe at the moment you've got every single track on there for free as well. So unlimited content, essentially. We've got some fantastic championships coming up, and who knows, even you too could get involved here on one of these Sunday live streams or championships. If you already are involved and want to, I guess, deepen your interaction with Simraceway, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Simraceway, my personal one at Liam Jenkins, or be sure to, or at Liam Jenkins 21, I should say. Or if you want to get involved on Facebook, there is the Simraceway Facebook account, which is facebook.com/Simraceway. And also Instagram as well. There's some Simraceway picture competitions we've had running recently. Some breathtaking screenshots from some of our users in turn have earned them $2.50 worth of gift vouchers for absolutely free. So there's always options. So if you've got a phone, you've got Instagram, and you're a bit tired of looking at pictures of food or the pictures of things I've eaten for dinner, head over to there, type in on the explore bit at Simraceway, and you just go on their page, and we have got some great contests coming up for you as well, involving some sneaky screenshots at the Seat Leon, which is making its way to Simraceway. The World Touring Car Championship is live and well here in Simraceway, and we can't wait for all of you guys to experience it, along with some massive, massive announcements soon. So Frege lap 13 of 17 has still got plenty left in that tank. Through the final corner he goes, and I think what we'll do, we'll take a ride on board with Frege, because this man has just been unstoppable, hasn't he? Over the start-finish line he comes in to start another lap, a 1:53.1. Let's see if he can beat it again. Then into Abbey Corner, flicks over the apex beautifully, positions the car, accelerating through the gears. Do not brake until you cross that marker, and down into second gear. 70 miles an hour as you swoop the car inwards now. Flick it over, swing through the left-hand side of Village, and get nice and straightened up early on before making your way down the Wellington Straight. It's a nice opportunity to draft any cars in front and maybe think about a move going into Woodcote. But maybe not. It's a very difficult corner, as you'll soon find out. The corner closes, well, tightens up very quickly, as you can see. It's a very narrow apex, widens out at the end, and brings you into one of the longest apexes on the circuit. So you don't want to miss that one, where you can lose heaps and heaps of time. Down the old National Pit Straight then, where the Formula 1 cars used to roar into life from yesteryear. and into one of the most famous complexes in British motorsport. Out of Copse Corner, you carry speeds of 120 miles an hour in Emerson Fittipaldi Lotus 72. Hard through the gears and in towards Maggots, and then Beckett still doesn't break, really a slight lift there to 130 out of Chapel, and just one more little flick before you bring yourself on down to the Hanger Straight. So it's still flat out through here because relentless gear slides. You can see almost 12,000 revs per minute before you double shift down to third for Vale. Wow, Stone towards Vale now down the hill. A nice descent, a good way to get yourself alongside in towards Vale, which is this corner right here, and in towards Club. If you can just position it right, you can get the nice double apex of Club out the way. Lap 15 of 17 is underway, and Fregel starts it with a bang, and almost a bang in the wall there. He got very late on the brakes, and still a 152.8 despite the oversteer moment. This man is just sensational around this circuit. So Fregel through turn one is still flying. I do not understand how fast this man is, because Rudolph still 5 seconds in front of Ken's as they go down the national pit straight. And out of Copse Corner went Fregel. He's getting ready to start his penultimate lap of the afternoon. We've seen some brilliant racing already here today. And Fregel, I mean, even though we've had 6 cars, and on paper, everyone's going to say it's a boring race, or it's not going to be exciting. There won't be a lot of action or a lot of tension. But what we're seeing is some breathtaking movement from the field. We've seen consistency throughout, respectful driving from Brock Landers after handing the position back after a slight bit of contact. So just 1.5 more laps to go now for Fregel, and it could all be over before you know it. 17 laps of just sheer pace about to unfold for this young man. But now Darek is in the pits. Darek, now, is that a fuel miscalculation? I think it could well be. Let's wait and see. Yeah, it's going to break his race. He's now so far behind Bolinas as well. Darek could have well had a late thorn in the side, and that's absolutely gut-wrenching for him. So not long left for Fregel before his reign of dominance ends, and I think now that Darek's pitted in, is given a nice sigh of relief there for Brock Landers. So just watching Bolinas right now, it's been a very stagnant race for many of these drivers, and now Fregel's in. Fregel pits in. And now Rudolph's going to go over the line to Fregel, has lost the lead on the final lap. That's why he must have been going too quickly. Fuel miscalculations galore. And he's going to lose out to Kent as well. Kent is going to overtake the race leader. And Fregel, his heart will be wrenching after that one. The final lap of the race. And he just didn't have enough fuel to make it. Rudolph is going to be surely a race winner. Kent goes wide. Can Fregel take it back before the end of the lap? Or at least retain second, you'd think he would. To the inside he moves. Yeah, he does move out of the way, so Fregel does take second. If he can take a lead back after this, then there is no more deserving winner on this circuit at the current time. So Brock in 4th, Bellina's still 5th. Darek is still 6th at the moment and about half a lap to go. Rudolph is 14 seconds clear from a charging Fregel. Is it going to be enough? Is there going to be a mistake perhaps by either one of these parties through Maggots and Beckett's? To me it looks like Rudolph could have this all sewn up. You can't find that amount of time in just a few corners surely. If you can, then I think we've got a new ace of a colour on our hands. Yeah, still 15 seconds clear, coming down the hanger straight. Yeah, so I think Kent has definitely got to be saving fuel. That's the only explanation. But Rudolph goes over the line and a shock victory for Rudolph. 5-2-3. What a drive it was for him. Second is Fregel. Third is Kent. Fourth is Brotlanders. And fifth will be Bellina's. But Kent saving fuel. Fregel will be happy with second, but it could have been a win should he have not made that miscalculation. Rudolph will be absolutely elated. Splendid victory. You think the race is signed until delivered after being stagnant for so long, but it's not. Absolutely brilliant drive from Rudolph and Fregel. Kent in 3rd, Brock 4th, Bellina's 5th, and Darek is now P6. So that's it from us here at Silverstone. We've got one more race coming up for you, the biggest of the afternoon so far, the 900 to 1100 A race. You will not want to miss it.